They were also my fabulous guests. As you know, every second time I have another guest on the show. And this year, again, it was a great group of experts and teachers and authors that I learned so much from. And they were really so engaging and fun to listen to. I highly recommend to go back to these shows on my YouTube channel. And they're actually there on video. So it's Dr. Friedemann. Go to YouTube and you can see all my guests and all my shows, guided meditations and webinars. And there's over 200 videos on there for you to enjoy. And please sign up for it, because personally, my goal is to get this year over 3,300 signups for the channel. So maybe we can make it happen together. But anyhow, the three guests I want to mention that I learned from this year, and they're, of course, learnings from everyone else. But one was Carla Manley, who talked about joyful aging, or aging joyfully, and that's also the name of one of her books. She talked about this flame of joy that we all are born with, and that is inside of all of us. And that this flame is something that doesn't go away. And even if we're feeling serious and depressed and miserable and anxious, and that joy flame is still there. And she talked about that she sees it like a little container, like one of those tea light containers that just gets covered up with the soot of life, the limiting beliefs and those traumas that we haven't dealt with, or those projections from other people. And underneath that soot, there's still that same flame. So what we need to do is not to necessarily reinvent our ability to have joy. What we need to do is just to wipe off those layers that block our access to this joy. And I think that's not only true for that flame of joy, I think this is also true for the flame of, let's say, our essence, the truth of who we are. Even though we may believe we are not good enough, or we may believe that, well, we are only acceptable this way, or we may feel like we have to keep on going in a career or in a relationship, even though we know something inside of us says clearly no, that doesn't mean that this is who we are. What we do and what we think and what we feel doesn't necessarily define us. There is something inside our essence that can also be rediscovered by wiping off those layers that obstruct the view and the access to it. And that's really in a nutshell the work I'm doing. This is exactly what I help clients with in order to overcome anxiety or blocks or depression, to really wipe off these layers and rediscover who they are. So it was a wonderful image that Carla really just gave me there to also, be able to see more clearly what this work is all about. Another wonderful guest was Arch Fuston, who talked about how to stress better, how to deal with stress better. And he introduced a 3-step process where when you feel stressed, you're not going into running away from it or avoiding it. You're actually just slowing down and you're facing it. And you're starting with the first level, which is relaxing your body. And, he talks about the reptilian brain that just needs to be calmed down through closing your eyes and breathing and just, focusing through the breath on relaxing your muscles and relaxing your body. And then the second step is going to the limbic system, your emotional place, and then simply shifting your emotions from whatever negativity you felt to an emotion that's positive, something, the treasure box we all have, the treasure box of, oh yeah, that was a joyful moment, or that's when I celebrated maybe an accomplishment, or this felt like really peaceful or grateful. And so you just tap into emotions that are also in your repertoire, and therefore you are shifting the awareness of your limbic system away from the stress to that positive emotion. And we really can feel the shift when we are shifting into this positive emotion. And then you go to the third step, it's all the frontal lobe, the conscious mind, and there you are revisiting now with a calmer physical body and calmer emotions, that situation that stressed you out, and you can reframe it. You can counterbalance a negative thought. You can see it in a different light, in a different perspective. And that is a really wonderful three-step process that also I feel makes it easy for us to no longer be worried about stress, but seeing it more as an opportunity to be able to de-stress physically and emotionally, and then as an even greater opportunity to reshape and reframe how we see the world and how we see ourselves. Because a lot of the stress we are feeling is not really about the situation. It's just how we approach it and how we see ourselves in the midst of it and what we are making up about it in regards to whether this could create danger or discomfort or not. That was a wonderful show as well. And then there was the connecting to the heart. It was Lee McCormick with the reconnecting to your heart guidebook and or heart reconnection guidebook. And he had this wonderful process of really going back into your heart and shifting your focus away from the distractions and just visualizing yourself sitting by a tree, breathing, going into, just a scenario that well, this is one of my favorite places in nature. Maybe you see somewhere by the side your younger self playing in the grass, maybe with a little puppy. So you create this very peaceful inner imagery, and then you connect to your heart. And that, that heart, that wisdom, that what really knows who you are, I just talked about the essence, is always available to us. We just don't listen to it, and we are not really tuning into it. This is where I feel what I talked about avoidance, or I talked about, being more open to letting go and letting something new in. I think my heart probably knew all those things, but if we don't listen to it, it doesn't really have a chance to communicate them to us. So that guided meditation, that's also in the radio show that you can revisit on my YouTube channel, is something like a daily practice that can get you back into the rhythm of your heart. And just recently I had a client, her lesson was that when she is reconnecting to her heart, her whole rhythm of life is changing. The way she approaches life, the way she goes through it is so much more meaningful and purposeful. And all that inner noise of, oh, I should do it faster. Why do I always have to do it so complicated? I should be doing more. I should be further ahead. Completely disappears. It's almost like by reconnecting with her heart, she sees that everything that she does has meaning, has purpose. It's like touching everything with love and illuminating, activating with that touch everything to a higher place. And that's with the food she was cooking, or when she was writing an article, or when she was talking to her children. That slower rhythm and coming from the heart and coming from love, it made her life so much more joyful and fulfilling, because that inner little slave driver that says faster, more, higher, completely disappeared. It is like in that moment, I think we are in touch with our true nature, having found our real rhythm, and also I think found that our energy, and when we are really connected to who we are, matters more than what we're specifically doing, because that energy is that what makes a difference. Well, I could talk more and more about these amazing life lessons that I learned from others and that you have been sharing. So unfortunately, we are already at the end. But again, if you want to just connect and maybe find out more about the work I'm doing, go to drfriedman.com and also re-watch the show if you would like to, or share them with someone else. on my YouTube channel, Dr. Friedemann. Until next time, make sure that you continue to learn about all the wonderful lessons that life brings you, and therefore continue to grow and continue to expand into your true self.